What is up, Watch fam? Happy Friday and welcome to Liquor Run. I am Christian from Theo and Harris, and you are
Rolly
from Theo and Harris. Today, we're going to be talking about Louis Vuitton and their potential as a watchmaker. But more importantly, what are we drinking?
We're going to drink a wine called Tenuta le Calcinaie from
Irish wine.
Irish wine. It's a Tuscan white wine from the town of San Gimignano.
Que bello.
Que bello.
All right, let's roll the intro and we'll get into it. All right, I guess quick wristwatch check, right? What are you wearing?
The GMT, man.
Love it. We just went on vacation.
The old lady.
Wore it the whole time, right?
I did.
Beautiful.
Looks great.
In the water.
Yeah.
It glistens.
Yep. With my girlish figure by the poolside.
We have a couple of dad bods and really nice watches. That's kind of our thing, right? High five. And I am wearing my personal Cartier Santos Dumont, which is a beautiful watch, something that I found and I'm very lucky to have found. So,
lovely watch.
Lovely watch. So, all right. I guess crack open the bottle of wine and then we'll get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, let's pour a little, and we'll talk Louis Vuitton, and then we'll get into the wine.
Yes, we must.
Okay, so this is something that I was thinking about this week, and it's very interesting from a couple of different kind of points of view. And we'll start here. For the past couple of years, Louis Vuitton, which is douchebag for Louis Vuitton, has really become a serious watchmaker in the last couple of years. And they acquired Fabrique du Temps, which is a very famous within the independent world watch manufacturer. So through acquisition, they became a manufacturer of watches. Now, people at Louis Vuitton never actually made watches, but they said, you know what, you guys do it, we'll buy you, and now since we own you, now we make watches. See what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. They really started to turn out some phenomenal stuff. They turned out with World Timer, with the later on Time Zone. I mean, in-house manufacture, in-house calibers that were not only made by them, but truly high quality. They produced not only, unattainable World Timer at $70,000 in white gold with a hand-painted dial, this photo, which you saw before, but also a more affordable version in steel without the white gold, case that at like $7,000. Compared to the, Nomos. And a lot of people, because of the manufacturer, because of the apparent quality and size and dial, everything, are saying that Louis Vuitton in this World Timer category are actually like bringing more heat than the Nomos World Timer. I know that kind of poses a dilemma for you.
A big one.
First, you love Nomos.
I love Nomos. I love World Timers.
Yes. Probably one of the most interesting complications.
But I don't think I can personally strap on a Louis Vuitton
even if they bring more value, or even if they're that good of watches?
Not for me.
But that's so interesting.
When I think Louis Vuitton and great brands do a hell of a job convincing you of one great thing, right?
Yep.
Volvo, safe cars.
Yep.
Louis Vuitton luggage,
yep,
shoes, handbags.
Yep.
I can't make the leap from handbags to a watch. Look, Burberry has done it on a more modest scale. Mm-hmm. They've put out a line of watches.
Yeah, they put out a bunch of stuff. They put out jackets all the way to they put out everything from, it became like a clothing company almost completely now. And Burberry actually has pretty big legs, I think.
Okay.
And it really does pose a dilemma. And before we get into, I'm going to ask you how could they fix it. Let's talk about this wine a little bit. So what are we drinking?
So we're drinking a Vernaccia di San Gimignano.
Okay.
This is a very interesting grape. The origins of this grape are not quite known. Some say it may have been brought over by Eastern Europeans. Some say Greeks. Some say maybe the Romans just happened to find it there. But there's been a long history in Tuscany with this Vernaccia grape, and there are some relatives, but to Vernaccia, but this is probably the purest form of this wine.
It's delicious.
You know what? It is delicious. But before we even talk about what it tastes like,
does it smell like? No.
Well, not even that. The Vernaccia was referenced by Dante in the Purgatory.
What is it? Purgatorio.
Purgatorio. Wow. Yeah, and he talks about what I don't know the man's name but the subject was eating eels from Bolsena,
Okay.
cooked in Vernaccia.
I gotta Google this. All right. I just looked it up. It's Canto 24 for those of you who want to dive into La Commedia again. But so really, it's ancient. I mean, not ancient, but it's pretty.
It's I mean, it goes back to the Renaissance. They're very, a lot of reference to this wine. It was a prolific, one of the most important grapes, white grapes in Italy.
Okay, wow.
And it fell out of favor for a more hardier Trebbiano or Malvasia.
Okay.
Which those wines don't have the bones that this wine has. Those are bland wines. This has a lot more. This is beautiful.
This is great. Yeah.
This is great. So let's talk about it.
I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
What do you smell?
So, while it has a bit of a citrusy scent to it, I also there's like this faint melon to it. Really nice quality.
I don't get the melon on the palate.
No. Let's see. Let's talk. Let's see about the palate.
You guys have to read the Commedia, by the way. All I can think about now is the Commedia.
This is... How do I explain this? I mean, this is such a fresh, vibrant wine. And right now it's getting a little warmer. But in the subtlest of ways, there's like a crisp apple.
Okay.
To me,
definitely.
There's green apple. There's a citrus note to this wine as well. But it's not in a very overpowering way. To me, this is almost probably a Sauvignon Blanc without the funkiness. If you want to connect with your audience about what the hell does Vernaccia taste like? Maybe that's a good comparison. I don't know.
To me,
Muscadet. I don't know. That'd be too floral. But
it's. I mean,
what a hell of a wine.
That green apple. Is dead on. I mean, it's not all green apple. It doesn't taste like only green apple. But that's a very strong component in this wine. I think it's delicious. This is definitely a drinkable wine. I don't just mean that in the fact that you can actually drink it. I mean that in the fact that you can sit down and have a couple of glasses, and you can continue to enjoy it casually. Whereas other wines sometimes they're a little bit heavy or whatever it is. But this is a crisp wine.
What makes this wine also wonderful is where it comes from. It comes from Tuscany, from right outside of the Chianti region. Yep. San Gimignano sits right there, about 20 kilometers, right, from due east or due west from the heart of Chianti, and it's San Gimignano is a really a medieval fortress town. Mm-hmm. If you remember, we were there.
In what? 03. It was my first time in Italy.
I think. 05.
I was 10.
Yeah.
I think it was 9 actually. My birthday was in September. I was 9.
A really nice wine. This is definitely something that I highly suggest people go out and try. The importer too, is once again it goes back to. When you look at the label of a wine,
check the back.
Always go to the back and look to see who is importing.
Yeah.
And guess what? Marc de Grazia, who we've not really talked too much about on this show. Marc de Grazia is another heavy-hitting company, another heavy-hitting guy in the world of wine that just knows how to pick curate great wines. So smaller names, smaller producers, but man, you get rewarded with some great wines. This is delicious.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
So now that and we'll do a little bit of refill here, but now that we're a little in now, we're probably about half a bottle in. Yeah. I mean, let's go back. So let's go back to Louis Vuitton. Mm-hmm. What would they have? What would they have to do in your mind? I know what it would be in my mind, but what would they have to do in your mind to really become someone that you, or more importantly, most people, or as you view the mass market, appreciated them, as watchmakers?
Well, first of all, I would do a little bit of research to see, in fact, that they're quality timepieces, but I would not want to see the name Louis Vuitton prominently on that watch.
I agree with that completely.
That to me is a complete turnoff.
Right. Because the prominence of the Louis Vuitton name on the dial, to me, implies that the watch's value is in the name being large. Yeah. You see my point?
Exactly.
That really in your face, like, this is Louis Vuitton, and know it was expensive. Right. If they're gonna make their bones, I think you're right. They have to do it in a little bit more of a discreet way, but in that same respect, I am fine with their designs themselves being bold. That I'm cool with. Their designs can be as bold and as funky and as awesome as they want.
The watch we're referring to is a beautiful watch.
I agree.
on just on the aesthetics alone. Again, if you remove the Louis Vuitton name,
it's still beautiful.
It's a beautiful watch. I mean, I would consider wearing a watch. But put that name on there in order. You have me out. It's the same as Hugo Boss suffers from the same thing. Where they make shoes. They have a line of shoes and they emboss the name Hugo Boss on the shoe. I will not wear that shoe.
Yeah, it's
because
too much
it's overkill. The same I feel with Gucci.
Yeah.
I want understated elegance.
Yeah.
Let the watch do the talking.
I agree.
Not necessarily the name.
I agree. Yeah, we're horsebit fans. I love the horsebit loafer, but I really don't love when they get to this point where they're just stamping just huge brand all over it. I mean, I just think that
it's gratuitous.
It's gratuitous, and it's like I said, it comes with the implication that that's all there is to it. So
this is good.
A little bit more wine, yeah.
Woo.
So that's it. In my opinion, I think that having been in the watch industry for almost 3 years now, I think that unfortunately the fact that it's Louis Vuitton will be enough to make it a real brand because the brand carries so much weight and because people really do love that brand so much. I think that they can really drive sales. I almost think it's unnecessary that they put in so much of an investment into watchmaking. So I do commend it because I bet you they can make a fortune on watches, and they're choosing to actually build some sort of infrastructure, which you have to respect.
And that needs to be recognized.
100%.
They will do well with a conspicuous audience.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
They're just, no matter what,
they'll always do well.
Always do well
Yep.
with that particular audience.
You slamp on LV.
If it's LV, they're gonna buy it.
And if it's expensive.
They get off the boat in Venice and they go and right by
Piazza San Marco.
Piazza San Marco, buy the watch and get off and go back and get out.
Meanwhile, they missed all the Cicchetti. I mean, like, what? When we were in Venice, it's right. I mean, it's just true.
Yes.
You're in Venice, and we're loving Venice. We're there for a week, and everyone that we told that to was like, "Oh, you're staying in Venice for a week?" Like, "Oh, wow, like big mistake." Typical suburban people. But the reality is Venice is such an awesome place. Not to go off on a total tangent, even though I am going off on a total tangent, but there are so many wonderful restaurants hidden.
No, you're right. But going right back to the point.
The point
that they will definitely sell this watch.
Yes.
Will it appeal to the watch purist? I don't know. I'm not a watch purist. I like watches.
Yep.
I don't know about watches the way you do.
Yep.
I wouldn't buy the watch because of that simple fact. And I think perhaps many of the folks that watch this show,
I think they agree with you.
They probably will not buy it for that.
But now, one last question before we sign off. Fine, at $7,000, it's too much, right? Because the value is not overcoming your desire to stay away from Louis Vuitton. But what about at 4 or at 3? Because these watches are destined to plummet in value because of probably the lack of demand for them, right? How about $4,000? Now you're competing in territory that is kind of occupied by a lot of not watches, but watches that are not as well respected from a mechanical point of view. And that's where I'll leave you. I think that Louis Vuitton may have legs one day, and I do cheers them to that. Thank you for bringing me this wine. I love it, Daddy-O. Vernaccia. Tenuta.
Le Calcinaie.
Beautiful. Love it. Cheers. Centiani. Thank you guys for watching. Please go pick up a bottle of this wine. How much was it?
This one was $15.
$15. Don't be cheap.
Yeah. And to anybody who says we only drink cheap wine or
B wine. We're coming for you guys.
We love all the feedback, good, bad, and different. Yeah. It's all good.
It's all good. We love you guys. All right. Chandani, ciao guys.
Salud.
Thank you so much for watching this week's Liquor On.